Hello, Dimitri. How are you?
Hello, Theodoris. I'm getting used to this introduction.
Uh,
Hello, Dimitris. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, what else can we say?
Oh,
I want to say
it's the
hello to you.
obvious.
Okay.
And I would say thank you,
Next time,
Theodoris.
okay. No, next time I will speak dirty to you.
Oh no, no, no. That's not
Okay.
that's not the concept.
And with the guest we have today, in a way, we can speak a little bit dirty
A little bit
because
dirty. Why?
yeah, yeah, no, no, no. What I want to say is that today's guest is someone that has been involved with too many hard rock bands,
And
and
hard
usually,
rock is dirty. Hard rock is dirty. That's what the
know,
viewers
some
saw.
no, some bands have dirty lyrics.
Dirty
You know that.
lyrics. Yeah, yeah. And we know that Thunder has the obvious single,
The
Dirty,
dirty love.
Dirty
Dirty love.
Love. Okay,
Yeah.
but that's
Yeah.
not our guest today.
Of
Any
course.
member, any
Yes,
member,
yes,
no member of Thunder,
yes.
maybe in some of our next shows. But today we have a persona behind many of today's hard rock legends
And in the past.
and in the past.
Yes.
Hardline, Edge of Forever,
Yes.
very much of all the catalog of many members of the catalog of Frontiers Records.
For sure, for
So
sure.
today with us, Thodoris, is
Is Alessandro Del Vecchio. Hello, hello, Alessandro. It's very nice and it's a great honor being with us today.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Uh, as we do usually with all of the artists we have, share with us for now the some top five albums you like, or five albums that you have been inspired from.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me, and thank you for the tough question. I mean, that is not easy because I would need probably 1,000 albums.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, yes, yes.
I wanna. I always go back to
Mhm.
the records that shaped my desire to be a musician,
For sure.
and that makes it a little easier because I take
Yeah.
inspiration from anything. It can be a death metal record or a pop record. I'm always inspired, and but I go back in time, and surely Queen as a band really changed everything that I heard before. And I would say A Night at the Opera.
Number
Hmm.
five. So number five is Night
Ah,
at the Opera.
I have to go backwards. So number
If you
five.
can, if you can,
Okay, so number
that's more
five.
difficult. More difficult.
Number five, I would
Number five.
say.
Sorry, Alessandro. It doesn't mean that your first choice is the best you have. Okay, you can say
Okay.
the order. You can choose the order or whatever you want. It's not a problem for us.
Okay, let's make it that the five records have no
Yeah.
order. So
For
no
sure, for
order,
sure. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes.
that's easier. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
say Queen, A Night at the Opera.
Okay. Talk about that album.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Tell us everything. Yes.
yeah, because to me that record is the perfection in every sense, in production, arrangement, vocal melodies, lyrics, musicians, the crafting, the writing, everything is so unique, out of the world, supernatural, that to me that record is just a piece of God on earth. It's just, I'm every time I listen to the record, I don't hear musicians, I hear God. To me that is beyond, that is art beyond the world. So that is the, to me, Queen were the, and still are, the band with the highest level of
Inspiration. Ah, no.
and and um, and art, because they didn't have boundaries, and I love
Yeah.
bands with boundaries.
For sure. Yes.
Second, it's from the Beatles.
Yeah.
Actually a collection. It's the 1967, 1970 blue collection from the
Yeah, the
Beatles.
blue. Yes, with the
Wow.
blue cover.
Collection.
Yes.
With the
This
blue
is the first
cover,
time.
it I don't have words to describe the Beatles. So it's like Queen. To me, the Beatles were and Cedar, there's nothing like that in the world. There's never been before, and that's never been after them. The combination of those four musicians and some writers and George Martin really made something that changed the world in basically a few years, and we could never top that. It's like the Mona Lisa. It's there. It's
She
there.
smiles.
It's been like
She
that.
smiles. Almost
Yes.
smiles.
Yeah.
Like John
Yeah.
Lennon. Like John Lennon. Almost smiling.
Yeah, almost. And the Blue Collection it's got everything. Great songs, arrangements, like it's crazy. It's so good. Production values. And every time I hear those songs, till today, after I don't know how many times I've listened to those songs, still today, I'm like, I question myself, how did they do it? How can you write like that? And to me, it's the same thing. It's the same for Queen. There must be some kind of supernatural element to write like that. And that is like the top beyond.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Okay. Next
then
option.
I the next three records, I have to be like very careful. I would say Made in Japan by Deep Purple.
A live album. So
Live album, yes,
Okay.
indeed.
Because the first time I heard from Deep Purple was from that live record, and I remember I couldn't. I was a kid, and I didn't know that the Hammond organ could have that sound. I knew the Hammond organ, but I never heard a Hammond organ that sounded like a guitar. And I remember I was listening to Highway Star,
Of course.
and
The
I
duel.
couldn't really.
The duel. The
Yeah, I
duel
couldn't.
between.
I was like,
yeah.
yeah, the solos were like, so Blackmore was playing like Malmsteen, and I was like, well, that's from 10 years before Malmsteen.
Of course.
So cool and so amazing. And the vocals and the drums and the bass and the organ. I remember I couldn't, so imagine a 13, 14 years old kid with headphones. And I was like, that's from Mars. How
Yeah,
how
it
can
is.
you,
It is,
like,
yes.
can you have such a power and the songs? And that was like, I was struck by lightning. I was like, I want to be. So but I discovered the Purple like that because of Ingrid Malmsteen. I have to say, Ingrid Malmsteen has been an amazing inspiration for me, but also because he was very vocal about his influences. If you knew Malmsteen, you would go back and discover so much great music that he was listening to as a kid. Deep Purple, Rainbow, Scorpions, UK, all those bands I discovered because of him. And not that I didn't know Deep Purple, but I didn't get it like I did after I read all those interviews about Malmsteen. So the next record is Malmsteen, and I would say
Which one?
Yes, yes. Marching
Marching.
Out.
Matching up.
Wow.
And that's a bridge, and that's an almost bridge with
Yes.
one of our previous guests.
Yes, yes.
That was Jeff Scott Soto.
Yeah.
Our viewers can watch it beside here.
Yes.
Our interview with Jeff Scott Soto, who talks about many incidents with Ingrid Malmsteen. Okay. And that's a bridge between our shows. Okay. So
Okay.
why Marching Out?
Yeah, so Marching Out because still go back in time. Imagine a 13, 14 years old kid, headphones, and I push play on Marching Out, and the first thing that comes out is the and the guitar sound, and then the vocal starts, and I'm like, what? How can a singer sing like that? I couldn't even realize. I was like, oh, that must be the best musicians combination in the world. such a great band, and the keyboard solos and the guitar solos and the vocals. I was like, oh my god! And it's
Do
crazy.
you remember the members of this album? Do you remember them? The
Yeah,
members?
sure. The Johansson brothers,
Of course.
and Jens Johansson has been my greatest keyboard influence at that time. So completely, I was completely blown away.
Stratovarius.
And then also I have to say, it's kind of a strange combination because Jeff and Marcel were on the record, and Jeff and Marcel have been the greatest thing that happened in my life, because I then met them and I then worked with them, and my first professional job in AOR in hard rock has been with them. So
in which album?
The first Edge of Forever record.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Producing, and back in 2003, so kind of long time ago. Marcel Jacob was producing the record, and Jeff sang on the record. So
wow.
that's when I met Jeff for the first time, right before the sessions of that record. But so it's kind of a circle, and to me, Marching Out is it's amazing. I also love lots of people bash the production of Marching Out, but to me, the guitar sound and the whole general feel of the record, it's magic. To me, it's magic.
it is. Yes.
If you think, they were kids, they were like 20 years old, 18 years old, whatever age they had, but the songwriting, the fury they had while playing, the emotion, and those vocals soaring high. Crazy.
Okay.
That's what Jeff told us, that he was a 20 years old boy and he was singing like there's no tomorrow.
Yes.
Now that he's something like 55 years old.
Yes, I guess. I think.
He sings totally in a different way, just to manage being in the industry. And that's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, and you can hear that. And that's what I loved about Malmsteen back then. You could hear that they had to prove something, and they didn't have boundaries. They were playing like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you hear that. But you know, one thing is to have a fury as a kid, to have that testosterone, and you want to play and you want to go for it. And one thing is to make it that perfect, because if you also the guitar solos, still today, he was a kid back then, and I'm not even able to put myself into place. I mean, you play like that with such a delivery, but still you manage to make it like perfect, and you're a kid. It's like, you know, it's like Van Halen, you know, the first track. How can you do something like that and be so good? Because everybody wants to have an outlet for their art, but if you make it, if you're able to make it so polished, so cool, so perfect, well, you know, that's magic. And and always talking about Yngwie, that's how I'm gonna talk about my fifth album.
Okay. Let's see.
Rainbow Rising.
Of course. We totally agree.
And
yes.
Put yourself into the 14, 13-year-old boy, and the first song was Terrible Woman.
Yeah.
Back then, I never heard something like that. And still today, if I play the song, I don't hear anything as cool, as epic as Terrible Woman. The keyboard, and it had everything I loved. A keyboard intro, a keyboard solo as an intro. And I don't know, how can you write such a beautiful piece of music? And just, you know, that's the intro of the song. And the song starts like that, and then turns into this martial thing. And and the vocals are so epic and cool, and the lyrics and the guitar.
Everything, yes.
Oh my God! Oh man!
All the album,
Calm.
Alessandro,
Calm.
all the album is a gem for everybody.
Yeah,
I
and
don't think there is anybody that could say anything wrong for this album.
yeah, we gotta kill them.
Yeah. No.
So,
Yeah.
kill them or torture them.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, both. Okay.
Nobody got killed in this show. We must tell that.
We can do it literally.
Yeah,
Literally. Sorry.
it's the most metal album of the metal albums, and it's not in the genre of metal. It's amazing.
It's rock.
amazing.
Nowadays it's a rock album.
It's a rock
Back
album.
then it was a metal album
Yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
it's total
Back
metal.
then.
The lyrics, the production, the vocals, and the orchestration is Iron Maiden in its best. Okay.
Yeah, no, okay.
Yeah. It's power metal for me.
I wish I were
My
born
opinion.
before, just to be a kid back then, and be in your 70s,
Yeah.
flowery music, and then out of the blue you hear like the da-da-ba-da-bam, da-da-ba-da-bam, and it's a whole complete new world, because those musicians just put together something that was never done before and changed the whole world. I mean, today, if we talk about we use the fantasy concept in music, it's because of those lyrics. For the first time, nobody sang of, a terrible woman, or light in the dark, or stargazer. It's that's, to me, those albums, but I could name lots of them like that, but those albums are like, can you do something more perfect than that? I don't think so, because there's an element in that music that transcends music itself. It's about declaration of who you are as a soul. I mean, to me, it's not about the single musician anymore. It's like God in music.
Rainbow tried to do something better and more epic with Long Live Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
But they did another album, a totally different album, amazing, but something totally different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Dimitris.
Okay, let's go to the second part of the first section. Okay. Favorite singers in this unparticular order of 5 again.
Or maybe you can tell us about guitarists too, if you want.
Yeah, I can.
Or you can combine.
You can mix.
Yeah, you can combine everything. Yes.
Okay, I would do singers first and guitars second. So
Okay.
Great.
That's easy, because if you follow the first 5 records, Freddie Mercury, Glenn Hughes.
Please tell us something about them. Why did you choose it?
Okay, so
Freddie
Freddie Mercury, because what he wrote and what he sang and what he played. So to me, the combination of writing those songs for yourself and sing them, like what I always loved about Freddie Mercury was the urgency. He had an emergency to tell those stories, whatever stories there were, and it's always been like that on every song, every record. There's never a song that Freddie Mercury sang, no, let's sing a song. It's never been like that. He always had like a mission to be powerful and with delivery. And even when Queen changed the musical genre, they went into pop, into disco, into folk, into hard rock, he always had that thing, that delivery.
Transformation.
Yeah. Then I would say Glenn Hughes, not in an order.
Okay.
Hughes,
Yes.
I was struck by lightning when I saw California Jam by Deep Purple, and I never heard Burn before. So the starts, and I'm a kid. There's no internet. So
Yeah.
I thought I was about to see Roger Glover and Ian Gillan, because those were the names that are read
Yeah.
in the magazines. in the 90s.
MK2.
I was like, okay, let's see how they were live. So the VHS starts, and there's Glenn Hughes and David Coverdale, and I was like, well, I know Coverdale from Whitesnake, so did it start with the Purple? So I was confused, and I never heard about Glenn Hughes, and I was like, okay, it's just a bass player. Who cares about the bass player? But the song starts, and he's got this white thing, and he's like a rock star, and then he sings during the chorus and the bridge section right before the solos, and I never heard somebody sing like that. So, and I fell in love with Glenn as a singer then, and then I fell in love with everything he's done, because he was able to sing his way through metal, through soul, through rock,
Blues. Yeah.
Blues, yes.
who's everything's funk, and that's what I love about Glenn. Glenn can sing anything and still be Glenn. It's like Freddie Mercury. He can sing anything and still be Freddie Mercury. There's no boundary, and that's what I love.
Those high notes of Glenn are so amazing. So amazing.
Incredible.
Has he ever done anything with Frontiers? I don't think so.
Or it's got
What?
the Soul Mover record, and all the records after that, the solo records have always been on Frontiers after Soul Mover. Then it's done California Breed, and it's done lots of stuff. It's done the Buddha Hill records, and Glenn is Glenn. So
Yeah, for sure.
we'll always.
So next choice.
Next one. Third.
Next choice, David Coverdale.
Oh, have you met him?
Same thing, because to me there's almost nobody as cool as David Coverdale around the 79, 83 year, 1983 period. That period of Whitesnake to me is vocal perfection. The Live in the Heart of the City up to I would say Slide It In. There's, to me, those vocals are out of the world.
And those lyrics again.
Yeah, the Coverdale.
Yeah.
Goes into the box of the love, sex.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
She can do it.
He was a lover boy.
Yeah, don't have to underestimate easy lyrics like that, because you could turn them into anthems. And the way he was phrasing those lyrics, those simple lyrics, was phenomenal. So as a songwriter, Coverdale is always named as a singer, but he's an exceptional songwriter and a hit maker. The way he was phrasing his lyrics was out of the world. And going back to the records, I have to say that Ronnie James Dio was as impactful as the others because of the power, the unique tone, and the lyrics, and this I don't know, this great delivery that like there's no tomorrow. And because the first time I heard Dio sing was on the Children of the Sea song.
With Black Sabbath. With Black Sabbath.
So I never heard Black Sabbath with Ozzy before, and I never heard Ronnie James Dio. So I was like, okay, maybe I'm starting from the wrong lineup. But I didn't know what to expect. I pushed play and I heard, that song. And is there anything cooler than that song?
No.
And this is why Ronnie James Dio is, for the majority of fans, is the best singer ever.
Yeah,
for too many fans.
Yeah, it's unique, and the power.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah. So we said were number 4. So I have number 5.
Yeah. One
So-
more slot.
Okay, so that's tough.
Yeah, we know.
Because as a singer, if I go back in time, the one that I was like, oh, I want to be as cool as him was Lou Gramm.
Lou Gramm, or Foreigner. Yeah, of course.
Because back then, Italy never was a hit country for Foreigner. We only knew I Want to Know What Love Is.
Really?
No other songs ever were played here. So I didn't even know the band name. So and I heard
you mean Mr. Moonlight? Yes,
Mr. Moonlight.
yes. Okay, yes. This is the comeback.
Mr. Moonlight
This is the
is the
comeback
album.
of Lou Gramm. Yes,
So
Mr. Moonlight. Yes.
first album I ever heard.
Okay, for me it's not that a nice album comparing to the others, of course.
Yeah, but I didn't know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. Yes, for you it's okay. Yes.
I heard the album and honestly, the way, not the songs maybe, but the way he sings.
Yeah. The way he sings, yes.
Is like phenomenal.
The way he sings in any album is unique.
Yeah, and I never heard something like that.
Yeah,
and I was like, wow, that's he's got the range, the passion, the delivery, and the phrasing. So yeah, I would say that it's tough because I would need a little more, but I would say Lou Gramm as the.
I have to say on that Lou Gramm reminds me very of Steve Perry. Steve Perry is inspired by all the soul singers of the past, and so is Lou Gramm. They are two different singers in two different bands, but they are similar in their inspirations, and that is obvious in any album of The Foreigner and any album of The Journey, of course.
Yeah, in we're talking about singers that are out of the world.
Yeah.
So it's very tough to make a like a list.
A comparison. Yeah.
I could say Jordan Turner, Jimmy Jamison,
Of course.
Steve Perry, and there are so many. Bruce Dickinson.
So many, yes.
Great singers but obviously you can name it all.
Of course.
Of course. So Alessandro, tell us something. If we say, if we could turn back time for once more, in which rock band, classic rock band, you wanted to be a permanent member?
Wow.
Another tough one.
Yes.
But
you can, right now you are maybe 65 years old, so you were young when all the classic bands were active. Okay, so in which one you would like to be a permanent member?
So I would say Kansas.
Kansas.
Wow, yeah.
Keyboards.
It's totally different than what you have ever told us so far. Yes.
Yeah, I would say Kansas because I would be able to sing and play.
Oh.
Yeah, correct.
Like Mr. Walsh.
Yes,
Mr. Walsh. Yeah.
Yeah, very nice choice indeed.
to be in a band with Kerry Livgren and write songs with him, and Kansas have always been a very big inspiration on myself because of those vocal songs and the lyrics. So I would say Kansas, and I would be a very happy person.
I think that the bridge between Frontiers and Kansas is the Seventh Key Band. I think.
Yes, the Seventh Key Band,
which was amazing. 2 albums and 1 live album, I think.
Yes.
10 to 15 years ago, it was something amazing. Yeah. It was the Kansas as we wanted to hear them back in the zeros.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. And thank Frontiers for that.
Yeah. Okay. When you are about to compose a song, is there any specific procedure you follow? Which means that first of all, I have to see what will be the main riff of the song, or what will be the lyrics of the song or anything. When you compose, not when you produce or you mix a song. Okay, when you want to compose.
Well, when I compose, I always start. To me, the most important element of the song is the hook, and the
Mm-hmm.
hook can be the first line of the verse or the riff or the
Mm-hmm.
chorus. So I always start. The ideas always come to me with the hooks. So it can be like the piano riff or the guitar riff or the chorus or maybe the first lines of the verse. But I always start from those elements and then I just let it go from there.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times I have to say I start from the riff or the chorus or the first line of the chorus or the combination of the lyrics and the melody for the chorus. Like Fever Dreams, I wrote the keyboard riff, but I already had the melody in mind because it's they're linked together. So normally it's like that. Or songs like songs that are very riff driven. I start from the riff. So
Okay.
I try to write not as a keyboard player or as a singer, or I just write for the song. So I start from whatever is the key element of the song and just use it as a foundation to create the rest of the
Okay.
song.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we're going to the last minutes of our broadcast,
Yeah.
okay, we have to ask you something more.
I named the guitarist though.
Oh,
Oh yes.
of
Oh,
course,
sorry,
of course.
sorry. Yes,
I'll be
you are
fast.
totally correct. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
of course, of course. We will be very glad to hear them also.
Yes.
So,
Sorry.
start from
Guitar is
5.
gonna be a different monster because we're
Yeah.
going in different directions. So to me, the coolest guitarist ever graced the earth and the greatest melody maker is Gary Moore.
Gary Moore, of course.
So to me, Gary Moore is the sum of everything I want to hear in a guitarist: the melody, the shred, the passion, the tone, and the cool combination of notes. And there's never been anybody like Gary Moore, in my opinion, because he went from jazz rock to heavy metal to hard rock to blues. He could play anything and still play it like Gary Moore.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Van Halen. And to me, it's not about the solos. To me, Van Halen is the whole package, the sound, the rhythm. The rhythm guitars that Eddie could play are completely new, different,
Yeah.
unique, and groovy and fiery. So Van Halen, I would put Van Halen in the picture.
Yeah.
Then I would say Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck.
Jeff
Jeff
Beck.
Beck,
Yes.
because he treats the guitar as a melody instrument. He's got a unique touch, a unique thing. So Jeff Beck. Then I would say one of my favorite, Neil Sean, for the same reason as Jeff Beck and Gary Moore. Amazing melodies and a great technique that doesn't come from technique itself. It's more about that passion. You go fast because there's fire in the performance, and obviously the songs he wrote and the hardline thing. So, but to me, Neil Sean is right up there, and then Ingui because it's Ingui, as I said.
Yeah, it is. Yes, he is. Yes.
And honestly, it's not just about the solos. To me, it's about the songwriting. Ingwe wrote at least up to 98, up to Facing the Animal, up to that record. He wrote amazingly great songs.
And then he stopped. And then he stopped.
Have you ever met him, Alessandro? Have you ever met?
Well, as a fan, yes. As a fan,
Yeah,
yes.
as a fan.
There was a moment that he was looking for a keyboard player, a singing keyboard player, and connection with his uh, sister-in-law or something like that, a manager in London, and there was a little talk about pitching my name among the names that he was considering, but nothing happened. I don't think he ever got my submission anyway. So, but as a fan, yes, I met him and I like him. I don't have that personality, and I don't like it, as you know, the personality and musicians with that personality. But you can't deny that Yngwie is Yngwie. You know,
Yeah.
For sure, yes.
it's like Richie Blackmore. You're not like him, but you kind of like the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like,
The story.
the always moody guitarist, or for Yngwie, the very eccentric, almost, Le Roi Soleil, this pompous,
Or Blackmore's Night. Blackmore's Night.
yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, unofficially, we thank you for everything, for all the albums you have participated, because I believe the majority of them are more than perfect.
More than perfect.
I'm saying the majority because I haven't heard all the works that you are participating.
Well, that's pretty tough to cope with the numbers, but
Yeah.
I'm very grateful you like it. It
Yeah,
means
for sure.
everything, because I mean, whatever I do in music is because I'm in love with music, first of all, and whatever comes, money, success, whatever you want, how you want to call it, it's an optional. So if people are happy, that is my main goal. I want people to be happy, because that what makes me feel good, and
Yeah.
to hear it from you, it means the world. So
Yeah,
me thanking you, I'm very grateful.
That's the perfect way to think about music, of course.
Yeah,
yes.
that's
And
how
that's and that's why you managed to do so many stuffs. This is
well,
Yeah.
I mean, I learned from the people I aspire to be like. And I remember Paul Rogers during the 90s. Nobody cared about Paul Rogers anymore. He was doing this Muddy Waters Blues tour.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. I mean, he wasn't the big star anymore, but he did an interview, and obviously, I mean, I'm a huge Paul Rogers fan, and he made an interview, and he said, "Well, I don't care, because whatever comes after the creation is an optional. I just make music because I want to make music. If it's for 200 people a night, or 10,000 people a night, or 1,000,000 people in a festival, it doesn't change anything to me. The reason I make music." So, and I remember as a kid, I was a teenager. I was probably 13, 14, something like that. And it really impressed me, because to me back then, everybody was a star.
I want to ask you, sorry, Theodoris.
Yeah.
Paul Rogers was a star. Okay. He wasn't at his prime time, but he was a star.
Yeah.
He had his, in quotes, fortune. So he was free to do whatever he wants. What happens to a new musician? You have in your hands too many new musicians, too many talents. I have heard many words at Frontiers with new guys. Secret Sphere, I think, that really liked the stuff, and all that new hard rock, prog, heavy metal that Frontiers do inside you, from you.
Yeah.
What can those people do as far as creation? Because you have to do something that it has an audience, and that's very difficult. And you have also to create. What do you think about that?
Well, it's a tricky question, but I think it's very easy as a process. I can tell you that every time I tried to please the market, or the audience, or the public, the fans, or the expectations, I always had to cheat. And to me, music has to come from a real place, from an honest place. You can write and make it, or create music and make it appealing to people, but it always have to come from a good, honest, deep place in you. And my advice is always, don't write for somebody else. Just write because it's mandatory for you. It's important. It's vital. It's your outlet. And then if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I can tell from the experience, because sometimes people go like, well, why didn't you write for pop artists? You would have made more money, you would have been maybe more famous. But what is fame? What is fortune? What is success if it's not relative? Because there's always going to be somebody that's more famous, it's got more money, more success, more recognition than yourself. But there will never be a person that's happier than you if you're doing what you like and what you want and what you dreamed of as a kid. As a kid, I wanted to be a rock musician. I'm so grateful, and I worked so hard, and I still work so hard, that to me, I mean, there's nothing that can be compared to the joy of being yourself. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you're still yourself. But if you have a talent, and if you're competent, and your ethic comes before anything else, if you succeed, you can somehow pride yourself for being yourself. Whatever
Yes.
but you're true to yourself and your nature. So my advice is always like, well, don't try to be something else, because you will be a copy, and a copy will always be a copy. Make it yours. Filter everything you hear through yourself.
How do you manage to be yourself among all those roles? Producer, keyboard player, ghostwriter, writer, bandmate, all the stuff that is amazing that you manage to do it. How can you be yourself among all those roles?
Well, it took years. First of all, I had to discover who I was musically, and it took me. I started when I was 13, and it took
last year.
almost last year. Well, but it took me basically a good, I don't want to say 15 years, but a very good amount of time in trying and improving and see what I could do. And but it took me, the longest time was because I was trying to fit into something, and I was, and also I was struggling to make it as a profession. And but I at some point I surrendered. I was like, okay, if I try to be like somebody else, I will always fail, because I will always be second. And so at one point I surrendered, and I said, well, why don't I write just because I want to write? And to me, the big change was that, because I've always been, in my area, or in Italy, I was always recognized as a, whatever, good singer, whatever, good musician, a good mixing engineer, good producer. But I want to create. I just don't want to be a producer. I want to be a songwriter first, because that is where everything starts. And I just wrote out of an honest place, and very natural and very instinctive. And out of the blue, I started to write songs fast, and it worked. But before, I was trying to overanalyze and understand how they were able to do that, and I couldn't get to it, because how can you teach somebody talent?
Yeah, of course.
You have it, and you train that muscle, that part of yourself, or you don't have it. It's something that's almost supernatural, because you just sit in front of an instrument or somewhere, and just something rings in your mind that it doesn't have rules, then I mean you can direct those ideas into a box, into a genre, into an arrangement, but that call, that moment cannot be trained. It has to be, it has to be welcomed, it has to be accepted. And the moment I accepted myself, it worked. Like when I wrote Fever Dreams, which has been the song changed,
amazing.
Here, honestly, to write down, doesn't take to. You don't have to be a genius. It just worked. It came to me, and I just wrote it. But it was very instinctive and natural, and I just surrendered to it.
It is so Alessandro. This song, it is so Alessandro.
Yeah, because it was natural. And but if I think to, I mean,
the chord progression.
Yeah, I mean the all the other artists, they are the same. I mean, you hear, I don't want to compare myself to the greats, but Desmond Child, you will always hear that. That's his nature. He didn't write like somebody else. And I don't want to, obviously you can hear, in my case, you can hear the influences. You can hear Journey, you can hear Toto, you can hear Malmsteen, you can hear Rainbow, Whitesnake. There's lots, but still I want to make it mine, but it's not that I want to make it, it just happened to be.
Alessandro, one question. Have you ever been pressed by time in order to have a specific timetable to give all the material to the record company? And have you ever felt that being pressed is not that good? The result was not that good.
Creative.
Okay, the answer will surprise you. I'm as, I mean, naturally, if I didn't have pressure, I would be lazy, slow.
Oh, really?
Not because I procrastinate, but I if there's not an urgency, I'm not able to put myself into that situations where I'm like totally focused. So in terms of pressure, I've been under pressure since my first moment into
okay.
the way I work.
Okay.
I'm not encouraging anybody else to run against time, but that is my way of putting myself into a special place. Pressure gives me, it's a boost. The
really?
more I do, the more energy I have. Some people are like, how can you find the time? I feel I have so much time that I can even do more because that's the only way I work. And people that work with normally knows that. I always get to the last day of the schedule, not because to me time is a luxury. It's not something that I take for granted. So if I don't put myself into the situation of feeling the time pressure, time is just an element, and I just take it easy.
That's what I call producer disease.
Yeah.
That's the producer disease. I'm a musician as well, so I know that every producer has to be pressed, has to be anxious. That's when they work at their prime. It's amazing. I don't know how you do that.
Well, but it's very simple. I mean, there are so many musicians, so many songs, so much music out there. To cut through everything, through all these bands and songs and all the amount of information and music that we have today, there must be something in the music. And I don't know about the other producers, but for me, it comes out of time. Because I mean, if I had all the time in the world, maybe I could just write, few songs and try to make them like super mega perfect and just rely on myself. But that doesn't work with me, because I love to accomplish somebody else's desires and visions, and to do that I need some boost, and it comes of the pressure of time and the pressure of also, I mean, the nature of musicians. You always have to prove something. It's not like you did a song and you can replicate the song forever. It's not like making shoes. You make a very good pair of shoes and you can just make shoes. It's not like that. So the pressure of proving to yourself and to your audience whatever you've done is something, and the time pressure, that is the formula for myself.
Okay.
That Damni Q is never perfect.
Yeah. I mean, if I have to, if I don't put a time pressure on myself, it could go on forever, because you're over analyzing music, and I don't wanna get there, because to me that moment when you create something, that is the true moment. That is the moment when music is true. Then the overproduction and everything that you can put on top is, sugar coating. But I don't want to get too far from the moment I created something. And so I just want to limit myself and get to a point where I'm happy to surrender. And I'm sure that if it comes out, it will sound perfect or almost perfect to the crowd. But if I had to rely on myself, I would never take him out of the studio, because I'm always like, chasing the little
these knobs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do a final one. Okay.
Yeah.
A pre-final. We have two more questions.
Pre-final.
Yes.
Sorry, Alessandro. We've taken your time.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Thank you very much for today. It was a pleasure.
Yes.
All this conversation, all this musical journey. Alessandro, are you with us? We've lost
Alessandro.
Yeah, are you here?
Okay.
Okay. We have him back. So
Yeah.
let's do some final questions.
Yes.
I want to ask you something obvious. Do you think that our hard rock music that has met his revival with Frontiers and some other companies from zeros to today?
Yeah.
What can we do for its future? Can we hope in ours and hard rock future nowadays? I know that it's difficult because you are inside that genre, but have you ever thought, what can we do for tomorrow?
Well, we gotta create a new generation of musicians, because when very soon or sooner or later, the big bands will disband, will disappear because of the course of time. And if we want to keep it up with the new times, we have to, myself, I call it second generation, and the new generation, we have to create music and create a legacy that can last for the next 30 years, so that the genre can be kept alive. And but most of all, we have to create new music and new and find new bands. That's why Frontiers is so eager now to create a new generation of music.
No, for sure, yes.
We have to look at 20 years from now. We cannot just rely on the past, which is great. And I'm very grateful that I've been working with all my idols, but my idols will end their careers maybe soon or maybe later, but they will, we will come to a point where the classic bands will be, maybe Hardline, but Soto we will be the classic bands. People will, look at as classics. We'll get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the circle. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
We have to create something that has new blood, that comes with new ideas, and so that we can keep it up with the times and time that by.
Yeah.
Okay, so one more last question. This is the last one for today.
Promise.
As you have as you participated in too many albums and you have met so many musicians, have you ever thought of making a series of rock operas or hard rock operas, um, in a way like
Avantasia.
Avantasia, or in the way that Aaron Lucansen did, with too many guests, especially from Frontiers, or a concept album, one, two, or three, maybe?
I have to say yes. I thought
Oh.
about it, and we also discussed about it. But more into it's never been like, okay, Ale, let's do a rock opera or something like that. They told me, well, if you want to write something like that, let's do it. To me, I have to be in the right moment and the right place to do that, because
Okay.
I will have to stop for a minute or two or 100 to obviously, because writing a record like that, I would have to write for that and create all the musical thing. But it's something that I want to do, and I'm not saying that it's gonna be like in years. It could be in months, but it's something that I want to do, and but make it different. Not just do a rock opera. I would love to do something that's got prog elements and rock elements and metal, and be able, especially now with the Frontiers roster being so wide, to have, I don't know, Sergio from Semblant doing death metal vocals.
Yeah. You have too many choices. Yes.
So many choices that
Yes.
I would have to create the character story, but I want, it's something that I want to do. I just have to confine myself out of the world for a period of time, and just write without distractions, which is something that I do only rarely, because of the machinery that we're all in the modern times. We're like running here and there, especially myself. I'm like hyperactive. I'm doing this
Dimitri?
like,
We've lost Alessandro. Okay,
Okay.
we've lost you. You have to
Yes.
you have
Okay,
to
we are
tell it
back.
again.
Yes.
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Your last. Yeah.
I find myself in a different mindset and time and place. I would have to just let everything out and just concentrate on that and just write that. But it's something that I want to do. But if I told you everything that I would do if I had 60 hours a day, I would do a blues record, an instrumental record.
Okay.
But the rock opera is something that I want to do, or like a musical kind of thing. It's something that I really want to do.
We would love to hear something like that from you.
Yes, for sure.
So, Alessandro, I'm talking by heart and for Thodoris. It was a pleasure to have you today with us.
Yes. Thank you so much.
It was a lovely chat. Amazing. We have learned so many things about your inspirations. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome anytime. I'm grateful. As I told you before, I'm grateful that I can to me it's not just an interview. I make music because I'm a music lover, first of all. So
we too, as you can see.
I love to talk, and I'm very passionate because I'm a music passionate. I love music more than anything else in the world. It's and it's also my language, my universal language with everyone.
A way to communicate with people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thodori, that was an amazing chat with an Italian guy.
Maestro. Italian maestro. Yeah.
Italian maestro.
It was the longest chat so far with a person that deserves to have such long chats, because he has too many things to say to everybody.
Of course,
I think that, yeah, say.
His surname is connected to football.
To football,
And I must say that Alessandro Del Vecchio is the perfect 10 to Frontiers Records and to our music nowadays.
Striker.
No striker. I think that is number 10 behind the strikers.
For me, it's a striker.
Okay.
For me, it's a striker because he has so many albums which can be compared to goals.
Okay, but so we are the goalkeepers tonight. Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, we're not the goalkeepers.
Yeah. Alessandro has shared too many things.
Yes, with
right?
us. Yes,
of course, from his bands, from his inspirations.
And we hope
those...
and we hope that the fans liked what he said. Okay, so we believe that we also the fans have enjoyed our chat. Okay, so
thank you for watching today. Please don't forget to subscribe here.
Yes.
Downwards, please.
And
subscribe.
so, Dimitris, until next week, we salute you.
We salute you.
Bye bye.